Hey there, public employees. What if I told you there was a $165,000 expense lurking, waiting to derail your retirement plans? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we prepare for medical expenses in retirement? My name is Seth Deal. I'm a CPA and financial advisor with Life Focus Financial Advisors. I'm also a former city employee, and I love helping public employees in Washington plan for retirement. I was reading through the Fidelity Cost of Care survey the other day, and what stood out to me about that survey was that on average, a 65-year-old in retirement will spend $165,000 in medical expenses. I was absolutely blown away by that number, and it really just hit home the importance of having a plan for medical expenses in retirement. Having a plan for medical expenses in retirement is so incredibly important. We don't want to derail our retirement based on having to pay for medical costs. And so, by having a plan in place, we can be prepared for anything that might come our way. You ultimately want to feel secure and confident through all stages of retirement. And so, by having a plan in place for medical expenses, that's just one step closer to being prepared for anything that could be thrown your way in retirement. When I'm talking with clients about paying for medical expenses in retirement, we break this up into two groups. We have our pre 65 group and our 65 and older group. And the reason we do that is because once you get to 65, your medical insurance premiums are going to change drastically, and ultimately how much you're paying for medical expenses in retirement will change drastically. Right now, your employer is likely paying a vast majority, if not all, of your medical insurance premiums, and you have great plans. However, once you retire, and if you're in that pre 65 boat, you're going to need to purchase a health insurance plan through the healthcare marketplace or through PEB. And both of those options are going to be expensive. The next thing you can do to prepare for medical expenses in retirement is to take advantage of an HSA plan if you're eligible for an HSA through being enrolled in a high deductible plan, or if your employer offers that. If your employer offers that and you're not currently enrolled in it, I would really take a close look at your medical expenses, your future medical expenses, and think about, does potentially switching to an HSA make sense? An HSA is one of the best ways to prepare for medical expenses in retirement, and oftentimes employers provide a large incentive through contributions to take advantage of an HSA. The next proactive step that we want to be taking is we want to develop a long-term care strategy. Whether you're purchasing a traditional long-term care plan or a hybrid policy that combines a life insurance component with long-term care, you want to think about, how do I prepare for potential long-term care expenses? You can also self-insure by earmarking a portion of your investments for long-term care, or you can consider an alternative strategy, such as potentially thinking about using your home equity as a quasi long term care policy. There's really no one size fits all when it comes to long term care. It's really going to be dependent upon your situation, what makes the most sense. The next step you can take today is to max out your deferred comp or contribute as much as you possibly can to your deferred comp. If you're not currently maxing out, think about increasing it a little bit each year until you're maxing out your deferred comp. If you're already maxing out, that's amazing. Also, look into other supplemental savings. The key component that I want to emphasize here is the importance of having additional savings beyond your pension. The final thing that you can do to prepare for medical expenses in retirement is to take care of yourself today. The old saying, the best offense is a good defense, couldn't be more true with preparing for medical expenses. If you have your regular checkups, you eat right, you exercise, that's going to go a long ways to preparing and reducing your medical expenses in retirement. Not planning for medical expenses in retirement can be a huge mistake and potentially derail your retirement. And it's one that you have to prepare for and be ready for. I also see a number of other mistakes being made. I've put together a resource specifically for public employees in the state of Washington, going over some of the other common mistakes that you really should avoid. Be sure to grab that in the link below in the description. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize the importance of planning for medical expenses and not letting those derail your retirement. You really need to have a plan in place for medical expenses because those costs can be quite significant in retirement. Thanks for tuning in. If you ever want to explore working together or learn more about what we do at Life Focus Financial Advisors, be sure to visit our website, lifefocusadvisors.com. Thanks.